Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Greg Marshall, and today I wanted to go over how to simplify your marketing so that you're not overcomplicating what you're trying to do. So, one of my favorite quotes is from Warren Buffett, where he says, "Human beings have a perverse need to make simplified things extremely complicated." And that says a lot about how we can become and how much we can become obsessed with making things so complicated that we don't get anything done. And I had a talk with a couple of friends, and we were talking about marketing and how it's so simple to want to do the most complex thing because it seems like it would be the smarter thing, right? Or it's even simpler to allow outside influences to make us want to go ahead and make things more complicated because the masses feel that it should be complicated. And one of the things that I have learned is you have to keep things simple, because if you can't simplify it, you can't scale it. And a phrase I like to use is simple is superior. And the reason why simple is superior is because you're more likely to do it and master it as long as you keep it simple. And so one thing you'll want to do is pay attention to your number one channel, or pay attention to your number one technique or strategy that helps actually generate the business, right? Take a look at it and really analyze and dissect why is it working well for you. And then once you figure out why it's working well for you, you want to start thinking, how can I make this process simpler? And you also want to be thinking, how can I do this more? Okay, so many times, including myself, I've done this before where you see something is working and maybe you get bored of doing it. So what you end up doing is you move to the next thing. And that's the last thing you want to do. What you want to do is squeeze out every piece of juice that you could possibly get out of your marketing campaigns or whatever's working for you until it stops working. Then you should start to toy around with other things. But what you want to mainly emphasize on is pay close attention to what is working and go, how can I double, triple, quadruple, or even as Grant Cardone says, how can I 10x what I'm doing? If you go ahead and have that mentality, I can almost guarantee you'll have much more success, and it will actually feel simpler and easier. One of the goals is you want to remove all mental clutter so that you're not feeling the overwhelm of doing too many things. That's typically what stops business owners from actually taking action and getting things done, is they feel really, really overwhelmed with, there's 10,000 different social media sites. There's all these different softwares that you have to make, and email opt-ins and funnels and doing this and chatbots and doing all of these complicated things, when really, especially if you're a local business, all you have to do is put out messages that cause people to respond to you so that you can then start a conversation and then offer your services or products. That's it. It should not be any more difficult than that. The main thing you want to focus on is, what are you doing to cause the conversation? For a while, I was measuring my success based on cost per message, or what it was taking in order for me to get a message. How many pieces of content did I have to put out? Or how much did I have to spend to get someone to respond back so that I can get in a conversation? And that works really well. And the reason is, if you look at it, most of the email marketing or the funnels or the click funnels or the chat bots and all this, all that's really trying to do is to get a conversation. If you were to just overly simplify why you're doing anything, it's so that you can actually talk to someone so that they can buy what you have to offer. And that's really it. And if you keep it simple and you understand that that is the only reason why you're doing marketing, is to go ahead and try to drive a conversation to see if you and the prospect is a good fit. If you keep it that simple, you will have much greater success, and you will not feel so overwhelmed with all the new things coming out. What you want to really think about is the word discipline, and how discipline, a lot of times you think about discipline in like working out, or discipline in maybe your school studies or your career studies, but real discipline is when you find something that is working. This will definitely test you. When you find something that's working, and to keep doing it without diverting your attention or trying to do new things. It reminds me of a time where I was running an ad campaign and it was working exceptionally well. And it kept working and it kept working and it worked every single time. And a majority of our conversations when we would all get together was we need to come up with new stuff, new ads. And I used to think, well, why do we need to do that if we're accomplishing the goal and achieving the result that we want from this one marketing campaign? Instead, we should have been thinking, how do we take that marketing campaign and basically use it in as many ways as humanly possible until it stops working? And that's the thing. The life of a lot of these campaigns or things that you're doing, they last a lot longer than you think. And it's very easy to want to, switch things up or switch it up and show a different angle or try this or try that because everyone's telling you in order for anything to succeed, it has to be incredibly complex. It can't possibly be simple because that's too simple. But that's kind of the counterintuitive thing is because people are looking for something so complex, they overlook the fundamentals. And the fundamentals are knowing, like I use sports analogies all the time. Focusing on doing a layup instead of dunking from the free throw line, right? They both give you 2 points. The problem is people get so focused on the fancy dunking that they never make it. They never make their shot. Meanwhile, there's someone else out there who's just doing their fundamentals and making the layups and making the easy shots that are ahead of them, and they're succeeding massively. And when you look at it, you can learn a lot from just thinking about the fundamentals and what are you supposed to be really good at, and then only practicing the fundamentals every single day. If your fundamentals are strong, you will succeed. I guarantee it. So let's think about what the fundamentals are in marketing. And let's go ahead and combine it a little bit with sales. So when it comes to marketing, you got to look at, all right, well, you have to have a message. You have to have a target market. You have to have something that causes people to respond. And then you have to have a solid offer and a process to move them kind of down the line until they end up becoming a customer. That's really it. Those are the fundamentals. How do you make a strong message? How do you make someone take an action or respond? And then how do you present your product or service so that they want to buy? That's the fundamentals right there. If you focus every single day on how to execute those fundamentals, I promise you, you'll have way more success than if you try to focus on the new shiny object, the new thing that just came out, the new chatbot, the new ClickFunnels, the new this, the new that. Instead of that, just keep it very simple and ask yourself daily, how can I simplify this process even more? Because if you go ahead and remove all of the clutter and you go ahead and remove all of the complexity, then you're going to be able to move much quicker, faster, more aggressive, and you'll know your system inside and out. So you'll know if something breaks down, you'll know exactly why. Versus if you're doing too many things, you won't be able to know, okay, well, maybe this is what caused it, or maybe that's what caused it, because there's too many moving parts. And you could say that about life, business, career, relationships. If you got too many things going on, most likely you're not going to be operating at your highest potential. So focus on your fundamentals. Make sure that you're doing what you have to do day in and day out, and you're fine-tuning just the basics. Only focus on the basics. Don't get complex. The second you start talking to people and they want to get you to keep looking at new shiny objects all the time, or not focusing on what the main things really are, which is creating good messages, having a good audience, and then getting people to respond, and then having a good product or service. If it has nothing to do with that, and you're talking about your marketing and sales process, you should try to block it out. So remove yourself from anyone or anything that causes you to lose focus, because focus is all about honing in on the things that really, really matter, the highest leverage points, and then doing those extraordinarily well. And if you can do those extraordinarily well, your results will explode, and you will not have to be only giving 10% here, 10% there, 10% here, because it takes a long time to actually make traction when you're kind of putting all your efforts all over the place versus honing in really hard and just focusing on getting deep on that one thing and getting super good at it, and then actually seeing the results of all of your hard work. And you won't get so down on yourself when things don't work out, because when you're doing too many things, the likelihood that things won't work out is really high. But when you're really focused on making sure that that one play that you're choosing to do succeeds and that you know everything about it inside and out, your chances are much, much greater, much higher, and you're going to have much more fun doing what you're doing. So think about your marketing system, make it a process, focus on the main things, eliminate anything that's unnecessary, and then simplify it. And every single day, every week, ask yourself, how can I simplify this process even more than what I'm doing now? And that's how you go ahead and get better results and you grow your business. So if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that. Leave a comment below. Like it. But hopefully you got some value from this. And once again, I'm Greg Marshall. If you ever need help, reach out to me, and I'll talk to you guys later.